Evening. Good evening, everybody. It's Big Cheds coming to you live on a Monday, July 15th, 2019. It's been a while since I've done one of these shows, and I'm definitely happy that you could join me. I'm definitely honored that you decided to join the conversation. I am an analyst, a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live, the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. We'll talk more about that later, but that's a project I'm very proud of. Really great team over there, including my good buddy on Twitter at Big Chonas. He does a lot of great analysis, lots of like short videos as well for you to check out. You can find me, of course. I am on Twitter at Big Cheds. Definitely subscribe to the channel. I don't do a ton of videos because I have commitments with Bitcoin Live, but I still I'd like to do more, but that's just the way it breaks down, right? So in any case, really, like I said, I'm glad you joined me. I'm going to look at Bitcoin tonight. We're going to look at the major coins, and then I'm going to, I'm just going to ask, what you guys think and take some altcoin chart requests. I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I'm a Japanese candlestick trader. I'm a volume trader. And for me, I kind of assume everything, I don't get into the fundamental analysis too much. I don't get into the projects. I just assume it's a scam, and I trade the chart. For me, everything will show up on the chart, right? All the news, all the anticipation, it's going to show up in the price action, and that's why would I want to look anywhere else? So that's what I like to do. I enjoy kind of sharing my knowledge with you. I would encourage you to, if you're just getting started, I wrote this beginner's guide to cryptocurrency trading back when I was going through chemotherapy, and I'm doing fine now, thank you. But the complete beginner's guide to crypto, that will definitely help you get started out. So I would definitely encourage you to check that out, chedstrading.blogspot.com. It's in my bio on Twitter as well, Cheds Trading. It will take you there. It's got over 100K views. That's probably one of the best free guides out there. So that will help you, give you kind of like a baseline of knowledge. And if you look at my work on Twitter, if you look at my work here, you can kind of get a sense of what I mean when I say certain things. But I really enjoy interacting, and I like to teach as well. So I like to work with people. I enjoy the back and forth, because I have blind spots. We all have blind spots, and I am always learning. And there are many methods of trading. I just know my own. Many methods of charting, and I just know my own. And that's kind of what I offer to you. So kind of that being said, I'm not an advisor. I'm just someone who likes crypto. So what's going on? That was kind of a lot of long-winded talk. Daily chart closed. So technically, this is what's called a piercing pattern. There's two candlestick combination. Now in theory, what you want is a gap down, and then kind of a close above the midpoint. That's a piercing pattern. That's the opposite of a dark cloud cover, right? So like in this candle right here, if say the candle had closed right there, that'd be a dark cloud cover closing below the midpoint of the prior candle. It strongly suggests a trend reversal. In this case, so it's not really a harami. You're thinking, okay, it's an inside bar on the candle body, and looking for a bullish harami here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to get some images up here because I'm just talking a lot, and I don't know that everyone understands what I'm talking about. So let's just do this. So you may be thinking here. So you may be thinking it's a harami, but really with the harami, you want to see kind of more of a like a spinning top, a small real candle body. These are pretty big candles. This is really forming the piercing pattern. I know I have dark cloud cover. That's a dark cloud cover. Do I have piercing? It's just this upside down. Yeah, here we go. Is this piercing? How about that? It didn't do anything. There we go. So piercing pattern, right? So there's a bullish piercing pattern where you kind of, ideally, you have a little bit of a gap down, and then you have the close above the midpoint, bearish piercing, also called the dark cloud cover. So you kind of have the tail. This is more of a bearish engulfing, but this I even quibble with too, because you really want the candle body, like it needs to be much bigger than the candle before it. So like this candle is way too big. This real candle body is way too big, for this to be, for that to be like a bearish engulfing. So I'm just I quibble over here because I'm very technical about these things, and it's important for me that to kind of follow certain rules. So what do we have here? That was boring, big Cheds. What do we have here? We have piercing pattern, 2-candle bullish reversal pattern, and it's happening in the context of this hammer candle. This is the candle that started the bottom of this kind of move. If it plays out this way, you have this hammer candle, the low of the candle, 96.51. So what happened was, and which is a very a general rule, technical analysis, especially Japanese candlestick analysis. Say you kind of enter here after the hammer, or maybe up here, you get all this chop. The best entries come on the retest of support of a candle combination. This is a hammer. Okay, fine. I'll show you what a hammer is, but I'll make my point with a. So it's a hammer, right? So that's a hammer. Okay. Even if it was a dragonfly doji, same concept, right? Even if this is a dragonfly doji, it's the same concept. When the price revisited the support area, the support area where bulls rejected lower prices, that's your entry. So as this is pulling back, maybe you kind of take this level here and you're kind of playing it like that, and kind of on that break, you kind of got a good sense. All right, we're definitely holding lower. Like bulls are not, bulls should have turned this into support. They didn't. All right, the polarity principle, turning resistance into support, vice versa. You could see turned into resistance. Boom, you're out. At that point, you're watching right there. You have this high wave spinning top, and then the hammer candle. So this is a nice little 2-candle combination, not quite a tweezer, but this was a high wave spinning top. Not an amazingly high wave. I mean, it's pretty good size shadows, upper and lower shadows. Now, notably, for the high wave spinning top, the real candle body doesn't have to be in the middle. It doesn't have to be even. You can have, this will be a very poor rendering, but you could have almost like that would be a high wave spinning top. Ideally in the middle, but not necessary. High wave spinning top, hammer candle, EMA 34 support. Bulls have shown area of demand. Bulls have shown area of demand, right? Area of demand above the 200, right? Lower Bollinger dips, right in the upper BB, lower high, all right? So that's what we've got, a bunch of stuff going on here. So you kind of have essentially the chance for like a real nice lower high here potentially, right? We haven't even looked at the oscillators yet. We haven't even looked at like any of the indicators, right? We're just looking at the candle bodies. So right now, we're just to kind of summarize, right now we're watching the retest of that candle, that hammer candle, and that high wave spinning top support, forming a piercing pattern at the lower Bollinger Band. Someone pointed out that's a piercing pattern. Yes, but in order for any candle, doesn't matter what it is, shooting star. I'll give you an example, another example. Another example, shooting star. So in order for a shooting star to have impact, you need it to come at the end of an uptrend, right? If it's just after like 2 or 3 candles after a small bounce, it's kind of a muted or a weak signal. So in this context, this piercing pattern wouldn't really have been as interesting a signal as this one for 2 reasons. It didn't come after a downtrend, and this one arguably did. Number 1. Number 2, I'm at the lower Bollinger Band here. I'm always interested around the lower Bollinger Band, especially in an uptrend. I'll jump to the weekly in a second because there's something I want to talk about that I've talked about on Twitter before very recently, but I want to just quickly Ah, screw it. That was kind of lame. I'll just say it. So the 8 EMA support, and there it is. We were watching this the whole time. So when we were pulling back, do I have like magnet mode on or off? Magnet mode, I find annoying. Weak magnet, whatever. So when we were pulling back here, and we were like 11, 10, 9, 11, 4. There we go. Get rid of that. So when we were pulling back, we were right in this range. I put out a tweet and I said, look, as bearish as it feels, look how high above the 8 EMA we are. 8 EMA, 8 EMA, 8 EMA, right? Ever since really capturing that 8 EMA back in February. You have the MA, look, I mean, I'll say that we've done this a million times. MA 200 double test, 834 MA bull cross. Last time you had an 834 EMA bull cross was end of 2015, and the price was like $280, and it didn't cross back over till here, back down till here, May of 18. So this is a potential for a big time sign, strong follow through. If you look at Ethereum, look at these other ones. I'm kind of jumping around points here, but look at this 834. Look at the response to this 834 cross on Bitcoin. I'm going to circle it. All right. Look at the response. Let's take a look at Ethereum. It's like, where's the response? Right? There's your 834 cross. It's been kind of just, messing around. Right? Let's take a look at. Oh, this will lead me to another point I want to make. Look at LTC. Look at that nasty red candle. I like it, though, if I'm a bull. It's like I want to buy dips. Pull back to support. Plenty of support here for Litecoin. But 834, decent follow through. Pretty decent follow through. Right? Real nasty evening doji star here. Right? Evening star. And it's a doji star because it's a doji in the second candle. Evening star. Right? Real nasty evening star. 3 candle combination reversal. Kind of a tweezer here as well that led into the evening star. I've said tweezer a couple times now. I'll show you what I mean. You should always assume people don't know what you're talking about. Tweezer top. The shadows don't have to be exact, by the way. So we had that evening star reversal there on Litecoin. It's a pretty good point I was making. Those pretty good 834 follow through. Let's take a look at Bitcoin Cash. You don't really have the 834 here because it's on Binance, so you don't get as much on the weekly. But we'll get back to that in the daily. I guess I'll jump right into the daily. So I like Bitcoin Cash. And the reason why I don't like it as a project. I think Roger Ver is I don't trust the man, and I don't like people who call Bitcoin. I don't like it when they call it Bitcoin Core. Like that seems just kind of like a marketing move. I don't like that. Like, just be honest. There's Bitcoin, and then there's Bitcoin Cash. There's different things. So anyway, just to clear that up, I like the chart. So, it's like when I say I like Ripple, it's like I like the chart. I don't like the project. So check this out. So, I talked about this a lot on Bitcoin Live. So you have, this is in my last update last night too, my video last night. Look at this bullish divergence. So you have the higher low, and I'll pull up the chart. So you get the higher low in the oscillator, and you have the lower low in price. And this is before, so this is after the bounce. So check it out how it was even more pronounced after the bounce. So as this is falling, we're looking for entries in this zone, in this range, right? Support, plenty of support. Look at this. This was it was trading in a box. That's what it's called, trading in a box. It's kind of several doji spinning tops, doji and spinning tops. A little bit of support there. Okay, we're dipping below the lower Bollinger. You get this OBV bull divergence. And then boom, RSI sub 30. So it's kind of a nice little setup. A lot of people use bullish divergence in the RSI. I don't like that, and I'll tell you why. And I'll pull up this chart, and happy to have people tell me I'm crazy because I enjoyed the discussion. I don't want my RSI, I don't want my price to be going lower while my RSI goes higher, pretty much ever. Because what that means is if and when my chart wants to move, if and when the bulls decide to make a move, the RSI is already higher. So I don't really fall too much like bearish divergence for our, so for example, okay? And the point I'm going to make, and here's my introduction is I like to use OBV for regular divergence. These ones, regular divergence, I use OBV. I use RSI for hidden or continuation divergence. Here's why. Okay, check out bearish divergence for I'm sorry. Check out bearish divergence for RSI, right? So like the price is going up, but the RSI has lower highs. How is that bad? How is that bad? I can have the price make higher highs. I can have it churn. I can have it flag. And right when it's ready to break out of the flag, the RSI is cool again. It's at like 50, 60, and I have room to run. So like I don't mind like bearish. So it's counterintuitive to me, right? Bearish divergence for RSI. I don't mind the lower highs in the RSI. In the OBV, that would concern me. The OBV, the on balance volume, which kind of measures up the volume in the red candles versus volume in the green candles, kind of is a very basic way to put it. But it shows momentum and it shows whether there's loading or dumping. Simplest way to put it. OBV shows whether there's loading or where there's dumping. Okay. So I don't want the OBV to be going down with the price going up. That would concern me. That's why I use OBV for regular divergence. Now, hidden divergence is what I use RSI for. Why? Hidden bullish divergence. Let's say the price is making a high or low, okay? But the RSI has a lower low. That means the price is holding its gains and even pushing higher. Meanwhile, I can have the RSI dip, like let's say below 30. Like the RSI can hit oversold while the price is still rising and in an uptrend. That's why I use RSI for hidden bullish divergence and hidden bearish divergence, right? Let's say like the price is putting in lower highs, but the RSI now is pushing above 70. Like your bulls are in a terrible position, like, in that case. So that's why I use RSI for continuation divergence. So that, so there you go. So bullish divergence on OBV. I'm going to go back to Bitcoin, and then I'm taking your altcoin requests. So what I wanted to point out on OBV, we have the hammer candle, the piercing pattern. OBV is still pretty strong. And look at the RSI is nice and cool here. Right in the middle. Nice and cool. So let's go to the chat room. We'll say what's up. So I'm going to ask for chart requests from everybody. I'm going to switch over to my altcoin. All right, let's get ready. I'm just surveying, looking for some chart requests. All right, let's see what we've got going on here. All right. Appreciate Matthew. Appreciate that, man. What's up, Max? Max is first out of the box looking at Dash. Let's go Dash. What do we got? What have we got? Dash looks terrible. I mean, look at that. It's unable to hold support. Just bears are firmly in control. Not much you can say. Very mild bullish divergence. We have the flat OBV versus the down sloping, the lower lows on price. Does this correspond with any kind of support area? I mean, not really. So I would just, bears definitely have the edge on Dash right now, BT Dash. And these, I just do BTC pair, because if you want to look at a USD pairing chart, Just look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin price will determine USD. So let's see. Dash, you're welcome. Ely, Link. Let's check out Link. What is going on with Link? Chainlink, huh? So this one was really hot for a while. So let's unpack this. I mean, that's kind of a lot of consolidation. Oh, let's see. 1 second. So what's interesting to me is you kind of have all these upper and lower shadows. You're seeing a lot of fake outs. And I can imagine kind of antsy bulls who are like, here we go, it's bouncing, right? And you kind of have a lot. Look at this churning. So what's happening here? I like what's happening here because you have the RSI cooling off quite a bit, OBV strength. You're looking at what I'm looking at as the volume candles here. There's not a lot of selling on these red candles. So I like what Link is doing right now. I think it's pulling back. We don't know exactly where it's going to stop. This would be a really nice value area given how price rejected. Bears rejected the price that at that. I'm in Link USD. I just totally. That's crazy. Let me go to Link BTC right after I just said I went to USD pairing. I didn't even notice it. All right, but it's kind of the same concept. All right, so except for those shadows, kind of the same concept. And here we go. All right, pretend that didn't happen. Essentially, you have the price finding support at the moving averages, EMA 34, MA 20, real nice uptrend, higher lows. What's happening right now is you can see the price is pulling back and consolidating in what I would describe as a logical support area. So we're seeing the price consolidation. The same is true, as I said, for the USD pair. There's very light volume in these sell candles. You have a strong OBV, and the RSI is cool. So this actually looks pretty good. What I would do is kind of be hawking it. I'd be watching it right here, potentially even testing that lower area of support again. But this looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit longer, let those bollies tighten. But I definitely like the way this is setting up. Let's move on to NEXO. I haven't heard of that one. NEXO. Sounds like Evil Villain or something. Hit BTC. People even trade that? I mean, big time downtrend, potentially found support, kind of a descending triangle type of situation, or at least really have a well-defined downtrend lines. If you take a look at these candle bodies, inability to close, it's very roughly drawn, but kind of an inability to close above that range. OBV shows weakness. Overall, this is pretty unattractive, is what I would say gently. We did LTC, Malik, a little bit earlier. I'll jump into a little bit more for you, just because you've asked. So we're at $90 right here. Really nice candle going on here. This is a bullish harami. We talked about it before. I referenced one that was not. Candle body is too big. This qualifies as a bullish harami, 2-candle combination, right? That's a nice little two candle combination. Not overwhelming volume in the green candle. You want it when you have this type of situation, you want to look and see, does it correspond with kind of a logical support? It does. You have this prior area of debate between bulls and bears, and then boom, right back. This is kind of a confluence here where you have a confluence of support, candle combination. Let's look at the oscillators. RSI nearly sub 30. OBV showing a lot of vulnerability. So entering this trade, if you were doing it based on that harami, you would have to be careful, very careful, because at least on the daily chart, bulls have not shown up yet. What they've done potentially is stop the bleeding potentially. And I would put it that way. Wolfpack NEBL. Let's take a look at NEBL. 849 Satosh. Looks pretty weak, but has it found a bottom? What I would say is the on-balance volume strength is actually actually kind of attractive. Let's see. I like how it's seems like the bulls have found support, but they're unable to push through. We have loading. Look at these candles. You've these. I don't know if there's maybe this is thrown off from this candle on June 16th, kind of a pump and dump candle where you have all this volume, and even though it's a green candle, it's not taking into account this upper shadow, upper wick. But still, I think this has some potential here for a bounce. Yeah, I definitely think this one bears watching. Looks a lot better than some of the other ones mentioned. So yeah, Wolfpack, that's a good call. I did look at ETH, dips and pips and rips is your name. Welcome. And if you look back, you should see it. I'll do a little bit more though, since you asked. Just real quick. ETH, nice 2-candle combination, bullish Harami. It's not quite a hammer with that upper shadow. I'd call this a spinning top. This would be a high wave spinning top and a bullish Harami. But it's not as convincing in terms of what logical horizontal support, because you don't really have, it's kind of air here. Not a lot of recent support. So that would give me a little more pause. Although the OBV is strong, I think maybe even stronger than LTC. Yeah, so that actually tips the favor in terms of the bulls, especially if you can start to close back above that 122. Sorry, 225-ish area. You close above there. I think that would change the picture a little bit. Let's take a look at EOS for John. Let's take a look at EOS for John. So what are we going on? I mean, it's pretty weak. I mean, it jumps. It's weak. It jumps right out. We see support breaks. OBV weakness despite the RSI bull divergence. I'm not seeing nothing in this tells me that bulls are stepping in. We have this prior support area, which is now turned into major resistance. EOS looks terrible. Let's take a look at. Mert asked about MACD. I do not use MACD. It's a little slow for me. But that's for me. I say for me. I know some excellent traders who've been doing this for a long time who use MACD. I know it's very popular. I can only speak from my experience. I haven't really found any value in it. I already use moving averages. I have, for me, this is a pretty simple setup. Other people may think it's a little crazier, but I keep trimming back a little bit. I use the 200 moving average, which kind of came into importance here, right? Bitcoin on the weekly, right? I use the 8 and the 34 EMAs are my biggest ones, because the way they work is pretty much in any uptrend, that 8 EMA is going to be support. And once that breaks, you see candle close below. That's a signal, like 9 out of 10. And especially this cross with volume 834 cross. And then once it pulls back, then the 34 becomes support, as we see here, right, with Bitcoin. Kind of, we've talked about EMA 34. It's, the EMA 34, boom, 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 and then maybe here. So that's what I use. And of course, you have the brown line, MA 200, simple moving average 200. I'm sorry, 20, SMA 20, but that's just default for the middle Bollinger Band. So I already use those, so I don't really need like MACD. And I use RSI for overbought, oversold, and I use OBV for loading, dumping, and then I use Japanese candles, and sometimes I mix it up with other things. I'll use raindrop candles over at Trend Spider. And we'll talk more about that later. But that's a pretty cool thing you can do. So that gives me kind of a feeling of the momentum and when throughout the day things are doing what they're doing. You can check that out. The link is in this video and on my pinned on my YouTube page, my Twitter page. So I don't really use MACD, but so that's why. I know it's very popular, but I definitely don't do it. Let's get some more in here. Let's get some done. You're not here to hear me ramble. Let's check out NANO. NANO is requested. Let's see. NANO. So NANO looks pretty weak too. Unable to find support. Turning support into resistance. Polarity principle. OBV clearly shows bears are squarely in control. I'll definitely do XRP. Let's take a look at ENG. Let's take a look at ENG. Let's get these out of the way. Haven't done one of these shows in a while. So ENG, what is going on here? Trying to find a bottom, unable to really put in any kind of high or low. So here's our next attempt at a higher low, kind of mixed volume, but bears have the edge. Just going to get a little more context. Yeah, I would say bears are pretty much in charge. Looks like price will come back and retest a 4,300 level. There's a higher probability that it will break than hold. Let's take a look at BAT. BAT looks bearish, although it is testing a key support area. Right, we are testing a key support area, and it's held here for a few weeks. So what's going to happen? Is it going to hold again? It's testing it right now. OBV is flat. Really no signs. This could go either way. But I'm going to make a note to myself to keep an eye on this. If it does bounce, we can measure the strength of that bounce against the MA20. We can see how the price has been rejected there at every turn, more or less. So we can kind of play that. Let's take a look at XRP. XRP was setting up for a bounce, and I put out some tweets to that effect. It's still kind of doing that. And everybody knows I think it's complete trash. But I'll still play the chart, and I'll still be fair and honest as I am with everything. That way, you know, it's just best for everybody. So what I noted here. I like the candles. We had a couple dojis suggesting you have like the 4 red candles. You have like this bear force and then dojis. So it's like red light turning yellow. Then you have the OBV bull divergence, the higher low, and you still have that. So if we adjust this there, still have OBV bull divergence. So this, you know, because I use OBV very strong, very heavily in my analysis, and this just definitely looks to me, based on that factor, position of the RSI, as cool as it is, suggests it should bounce. I can just mark my lows here. I'd be willing to abandon that position if it breaks these lows, and then what I would do is just kind of watch the candles for some type of a signal, kind of like we were seeing here. With these dojis or these spinning tops, some type of combination, but I would potentially abandon it and wait potentially for maybe another leg down if it breaks those lows. Okay. Hey, Chris, if you want Link USD, just look at the Bitcoin chart and then compare it to the BTC pair chart is what makes the most sense. Let's see. All right, check. I did NANO. Check, blah, blah. Yeah, I do use Heiken-Ashi a lot. So let's go to, I like to it gives you a sense of what the overall trend is, the movement behind the trend, right? So here's Bitcoin, and we can ignore this candle because today just started. But it looks like bears are in full control right now, just based on that. Now, if we look at the Japanese candles and we look at kind of shorter time frames, let's go 4 hour, right there. There's your candle. So you potentially have an early reversal signal with this hammer candle right here with decent volume. Price is reversing. This is almost a gravestone doji. We're watching this 834 on the 4 hour to cross. Right, so that's what the 4 hour point I was making is the 4 hour could be showing us an early reversal, which isn't showing up yet in the Heiken-Ashi. So that's a good way. I told you, with the raindrop candles as well, and the Heiken-Ashi and the Japanese candles. It's just a good way to kind of to check things. Another good way to check things is to invert it. So if you hit Alt I in the keyboard. Right. All right, Bitcoin chart daily inverted, just to kind of check your bias. Flip it upside down. So I honestly, if I see this, it looks like it's bottoming, right? This gives me the sense, okay, I almost have kind of a rising three rivers, a rising three valleys. Surprised I didn't see that on the beginning of a rising three valleys. I'm surprised I didn't see that on the inverse. Wow, that's why I do it. So what's rising three valleys? So we could potentially have the beginning of a rising three valleys, which is the opposite, of course, of a, do I have it? Of a, here we go. There we go. That's the opposite of this. Falling three falling peaks, right? So I guess we do have a potential for the three falling peaks. I didn't even notice that. So let's go back. So that is interesting. I have to check my bias. I didn't notice that. See, I didn't notice that till I inverted the chart. So wow, that kind of makes me think. So anyway, I think that's what's fun to do. That's why it's fun to switch it around. And to kind of just it's important not to trust yourself. It's important to kind of challenge yourself and to kind of see what else you can come up with. And that way you're really trying to stretch things around and come to the ultimate truth. I just want to remind everyone I'm a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live, the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. I'm really proud to be involved. I put out a lot of videos reviewing the major coins, the major alts, kind of what's going on with the market. I like to do like a watch list scan segment where I record myself scanning my watch list, and you get to learn how I look for plays. Like I want it to be educational. I don't want to just hand you a fish. I want to teach you how to fish. That metaphor. They're timely alerts. This is just, we have other people as well. We have a really great team. Big Jonas is involved. Nick Patel, Axel. There's a really great team. You can check out my webinar on YouTube if you want to get a sense of why I get involved with the project. We've recently added a monthly as well as a quarterly option for you to try out the platform before committing for a year, which is the best deal. This is without a doubt the best in class educational platform for crypto. I would encourage you to check out my good friend. He is on Twitter. He is Big Jonas. He does a great job. He's on YouTube at Jonas Trading. You can find me on Twitter. Of course, I'm at Big Cheds. You can find me on YouTube at Cheds Trading. I also encourage you, if you're looking for a new charting platform, definitely check out TrendSpider. They have a lot of great features. I like the raindrop candles. Kind of give me a different. I'm just a candle nerd, so I've been having a lot of fun playing around with that. Especially in the back tester, the strategy tester, kind of putting in different like candle combinations and kind of seeing how things shake out. So if you want more info on that, check my pinned tweet on Twitter, and I have some info in the for this video as well. But anyway, I'm really glad you joined me. I hope this helped you. It helped me. I had a lot of fun. And until the next time, I would say we'll talk soon, and Big Cheds out.